Okay, so good news. I have decided to take a huge risk and to take Graced a little bit further. So, outside of these lovely talks that I like to do on YouTube, I am actually a licensed esthetician. And so I have decided to open up a spa room. Now, this is actually going to be my second time opening my spa room. The first time I failed, and I'll tell you why I failed in a minute, but I'm excited for one. And I really just want to encourage the next person to really just, make a move on that feeling that the Lord has placed within you. It might not be aesthetics, especially if you're a man, probably won't be aesthetics. Not that there aren't men in the aesthetics industry, but whatever that might be, it is definitely a huge risk. But when you have God as your CEO, the good thing is you don't have to take on that pressure of succeeding, because as long as it's approved by the Lord, as long as it's God's will for you, God will provide. God will use you to make sure that this is successful. And so the first time that I actually did this, I did have a relationship with the Lord, but it wasn't as strong as it is now. I have totally learned a lot more. And I was kind of in that boss babe era where the pressure was on me. So, the focus was on me and how hard I was working. And also I had just graduated aesthetic school. And so I actually didn't really know a lot about the industry. I just knew that I wanted to be solo. I wanted to I wanted to make my own schedule. I wanted to be my own boss. This time around, absolutely not. I am not the boss. I am just a servant of the Lord. The Lord is my CEO, and I'm just being obedient to what He has called me to. The Lord has blessed me with education, with opportunities, and so I want to use those. And the first time that I actually failed, I gave up on my business because I was actually seeking ministry. And I learned a lot that, ministry is not just being in the pulpit. Ministry is not a one size fits all. Ministry can be at any job, whether you work at the convenience store, whether you are a professional athlete, ministry can be anywhere. Ministry can be in the aesthetics industry. And so, I kind of didn't understand how that worked. I do know that the Lord was pushing me to go deeper into a relationship with Him. And so obviously at the time I didn't understand exactly what that meant. And so I kind of just said, forget aesthetics. And I honestly, when I did that, I had no intention on going back and opening another business. I felt like I tried it didn't work. And so, move on, find something else that will work for me. But over this past year, after I left my last job as an instructor, I had a lot of time to really just think and to pour into myself and to get mental clarity. And it came up on a year. Literally, I just made a year of not being an instructor and not really working in this aesthetics industry, kind of just, obviously still paying attention to what's going on in the aesthetics industry. And to be honest, I actually am a substitute instructor, so I kind of have my hands in, but it's very much freelance. It's very much on call. So I honestly forgot about it. That's how part-time it is. But I was just like, okay, what am I gonna do? I've applied to so many jobs, and the door just keeps being shut in my face. And so I really had to sit with God and ask God, what do you want me to do? Because, I've been applying. I know that I have a really good resume. Why am I not getting these jobs? And the reason why is because that's not what God has for me. God has something specific for me. And so those doors are going to continue to shut. And the reason why I know that I wasn't just making things up, I wasn't just hearing things, is because the way that I even came about going in this direction was just so easy, and it just had God written all over it. So, you know, I'm just here to be a vessel, here to take that risk. But it's, so obviously I've done it before, like I mentioned, but I haven't done it this way. So I haven't really just allowed God to lead me, you know, kind of take off that boss babe hat. And honestly, if you're a boss babe, you can have that. That is stressful. I want to be in my feminine, submissive era where I'm just, you know, listening to the voice of God and letting him lead me. And I know for men, it might be a little bit harder because, you know, men are natural leaders. But it's still, you still, as a man, you know, I can't really speak to a man because I'm not a man, but I mean, from my understanding, as a man, you should be led by God, okay? And, you know, whatever that looks like for you, you figure that out. I'm not here to tell you how to do that, but, you know, it is hard to be a woman in business and also be submissive. So I can speak to that. You know, I still am at the very beginning stages. I haven't, on this date, you know, I am announcing that this is what I'm going to be doing, but I haven't actually opened the door to, you know, or release my booking site to allow people to book. It's actually, from this date, it'll be 3 weeks from now. So August 1st, 2025 is the day that I plan on opening up to the public, basically. Where was I even going with this? I totally forgot. But I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and I do plan on, you know, opening up on a specific day. So I haven't actually opened yet, but I do feel less pressure, you know, even behind the scenes, all the work that I have to do, you know, insurance, consent forms. And if you're not in this industry, it might not make any sense to you. You know, just creating my DBA, just creating a business account. Sorry, my foot is itching. These mosquitoes, they just love me. But all of those things that I've had to do, you know, in the past, I remember just having this anxious feeling, and, you know, come to find out everything works out fine. But this time around, I kind of do have an idea of what to do. So I am thankful for that. But I also have something better. I have surrender. I've surrendered this to the Lord. So this is not my business. I am just a vessel for the Lord. This is the Lord's business. And, you know, he has gifted me with opportunities and education to fulfill this business. But he's my CEO. And let me tell you, this time around, things have just ran so much more smoother. And yes, technically I haven't came across real life issues, and I pray to God that I don't have to. But I know that everything's going to work out because it is all in the Lord's hand. And one thing the Lord is never going to do is look bad. So I feel good. I feel confident in saying, you know, I am taking this risk. I'm taking this opportunity. And so I wanted to pour that into somebody else. So if you're watching this video, you know, maybe it's not opening up a spa room, but maybe it's just, you know, doing something on the side that you always wanted to do, a hobby or whatever it might be. You know, just don't be afraid to take those risks, especially if it is, well, actually, I would only recommend that if it is, you know, approved by the Lord. And I mean, I'm sure you can figure that out. You'll know, you know, definitely the Lord's never going to lead us to sin. So if it is something that leads to sin, I'm going to say 100% sure it's not from the Lord. But yeah, so that is my announcement. That is my encouragement. Also, I pray that I am more consistent with creating videos. I do plan on creating a separate like playlist of the steps that I took to start this business. That'll be geared more towards actual estheticians that want to do this, you know, become solo or whatever. But you know, I think I mentioned in the beginning of the video, my old laptop actually decided that she no longer wanted to work. I mean, she was 11 years old, but I'm like, come on. Like, I had so many things going on with that laptop. So when she decided that she no longer wanted to work, that meant that I couldn't work. And I was upset, and I did push it at first. Like, I was just, you know, trying very, very hard to just push through, but I couldn't. I needed a new laptop, and so I got a new laptop, thank God. So I do plan on uploading more videos and staying more consistent. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna be, you know, uploading a video every Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. I'm not gonna say that. I'm only gonna upload videos as I feel led by the Holy Spirit, and I feel confident in saying that. So I don't know what that's gonna look like, but yes, let God be your CEO. Put that boss babe hat down and pick up your cross. Oh my God. That was a freestyle, but that was so good. Okay, no, seriously. So, you know, new chapter, new beginnings. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me rant about how good the Lord is, and I'll see you in the next video.